You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Rohan Unruh for AngryMarks.com, your number one source for pro wrestling and mixed martial arts news and information. Back with your NXT report for January 9th, 2018. We're back on the regular schedule after NXT had their 2018 year in review show last week. This is NXT number 486, so let's get right into it. Opening segment has Johnny Gargano coming down to the ring. He's bouncing around like he's cock of the walk. Well, he's cock of nothing. He gets a pretty mixed reaction, probably about 60-40 still on the babyface side. He still has quite a bit of support. He wishes the NXT universe a happy new year. He says that 2018 was a bit of a roller coaster for him, and success in this company doesn't matter if you're a good guy, or it doesn't matter if you play nice. What the two things that this company is measured with is wins and championships. And it doesn't matter how hard you try. But in 2019, he will be better, he will win, he will become a champion. So the crowd is chanting the Johnny Wrestling Johnny failure. He starts to mention Tommaso Ciampa, talks about him, and the crowd immediately starts chanting DIY. And Gargano shuts that down immediately. He said, hey, what happened in the cage a couple of weeks ago was a one-time thing. Ciampa is still a piece of trash. He changes his path a little bit, starts to mention Ricochet and the North American Championship. And he says, if I want the championship, I'll just come and take it. So in the middle of his promo, Ricochet's music hits, and he comes down to the ring wearing just a fine pimp suit. He looks great. Ricochet asks if Johnny will take the title face-to-face, or if he'll attack him in a parking lot. Ooh. Basically, he says he's going to win at TakeOver Phoenix. So I'll keep that in mind. They've already announced the match. At this point, Ciampa comes out and he starts to talk, but Johnny tries to shoo him away, saying, this isn't about you, this is about me and Ricochet. Aleister Black starts to appear on the big screen. He says Ciampa will fade to black, he's going to beat him. The lights go up for a few seconds. When they come back on, Black is standing behind Ciampa, and they brawl over the announce desk and to the back. In the melee, Gargano and Ricochet are watching all this, and all of a sudden, Johnny turns, super kicks Ricochet, and I just hit the microphone, and he lays him out. Johnny's fan support significantly drops after this, and Johnny slumps away, leaving Ricochet in a heap. We get a promo for NXT UK's first takeover event this Saturday on the WWE Network, headlined by Pete Dunne taking on Joe Coffey. We get an announcement from Commissioner Regal saying that the Undisputed Era will defend the NXT Tag Team titles against the War Raiders at the upcoming TakeOver. First match of the night, Bianca Belair versus Nikki Cross. This is the third match between the two in the last couple of months. We have yet to see a decisive winner. The first match ended in a double countout. The second match was interrupted by Aleister Black. Bianca is an absolute superstar, and why she's not coming up to the main roster anytime soon, I'm not sure. Nikki comes down. Poor Nikki. I love Nikki, but she's going to give herself whiplash one day doing that Ultimate Warrior entrance of hers where she runs into the ropes face first and I just bit my tongue. So the announcers mentioned that Nikki is heading up to either Raw or SmackDown soon, but she has unfinished business with Belair. Bianca tries the hair whip early, and Nikki tries a schoolgirl roll-up, but Bianca does a backflip out of it. Bianca knocks Nikki to the outside, and Nikki traps Bianca in the ring skirt again. This seems to be an awful lot like their first match. Nikki attempts a top rope dive, but Bianca cuts her off by grabbing her in a press slam position, walks to the middle of the ring, drops her, and then hits a standing moonsault for a 2. Nikki counters a vertical suplex with a DDT for a near fall. Nikki then hits a reverse DDT that Nigel referred to as the slop drop. So he's a fan of the Godwins. Nikki hits the swinging fisherman neckbreaker, which is her finish, but Bianca rolled to the outside. Both of them are on the steel ramp. Nikki climbs on Bianca's back and traps her in a sleeper, but she didn't learn from her first match, and the exact same thing happened. Bianca fell backwards with Nikki on her back. Nikki lands hard on the steel ramp. Both women make it into the ring before the 10 count. There's a brief moment when both of them just start throwing strikes, like in a hockey fight. Nikki then misses another top rope dive and Bianca hits the torture rack slam, finally getting a clean win over Nikki, getting some much needed momentum before she goes on to take over to face Shayna Baszler. Now, despite technically still being a heel, the crowd loves Bianca and they're building her up to face an even bigger heel. Because of that, I would have liked to see her work full babyface against a mid-level heel. But you can't put her in there against Lacey Evans because Evans is going up to the main roster soon. Plus, Bianca already beat her in the 4-way a few weeks ago. Someone like Aaliyah, Tainara Conti, someone of that nature that isn't doing anything that wouldn't really be damaged by a loss. On the other hand, it is kind of nice to see this feud get some closure with a clean win. We get an ad for WWEshop.com. They have sales on for t-shirts. I tried to buy a $20 shirt today. After shipping and taxes, $53. I don't need a shirt that badly. We get the Street Profits, who are just chilling on a park bench. And the guys are beatboxing and they're freestyling about how they're going to take over 2019. They're going to open doors for themselves. And they start running down the street. A tag team debut of Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. Their Titantron looks like it was made in Microsoft Paint. It's just their names floating around in a weird font, just back and forth. They're taking on two guys. We determined that their names were Kunzman, and a tiny man by the name of Stanley Watts. Nigel calls Bartel an exceptional German. As I mentioned, Watts is a tiny man, maybe 120 pounds, but he does a lot of high flying. Bartel kills him with death and a double chop to the throat. Eichner comes in and Watts flips all over him in the ring before tagging Kunzman back in. They beat on him for a while, and then Watts gets another hot tag. Eichner puts Watts in powerbomb position and then throws him into a German suplex by Bartel for the win. You know, I kind of like Bartel. His ring style reminds me a lot more of a more aggressive William Regal. So I hope they do something with him. I guess the two of them are going to be mostly on the NXT UK brand. We got Kathy Kelly in the parking lot saying that Aleister Black and Tommaso Ciampa have been removed from the building. When Ricochet is seen power walking from the arena, he gets caught by Kelly and she asks him, "What happened?" Because I guess she doesn't watch the show. Ricochet tells her that all Johnny had to do was ask for a title match, but now he wants Gargano whether Regal makes the match or not. It was already established that the match was happening, so spoiler alert, he's going to make the match. Get a recap of the Matt Riddle Cassius Ohno beatdown from last week, which takes us to another generic blonde interviewer. She's talking with Keith Lee about the angle. I wish that's how they would have said it. Said, "Hey Keith, what did you think of this angle? Do you think?" And Keith Lee challenges Cassius Ohno for next week. Bask in his glory. Yada, yada, yada. Main event. EC3 taking on Adam Cole. Cole is accompanied by the whole team. Cole tries early on a leapfrog, but EC3 chops the Jesus out of him. Cole runs to the outside. And EC3 pokes his head through between the top and middle rope as if he's peeking his head out the window to look for a pie. And Cole hits a jumping enziguri, and EC3's reflexes are so slow that he can't get out of the way of this. EC3 hooks Cole in DDT position, but then falls forward onto Cole's neck. That's a cool move. I've never seen that before. Cole hits a running bicycle kick for 2. There's a backstabber by Cole. Throughout the whole match, Bobby Fish is just a tremendous cheerleader. Every time Cole would go for a move, Fish would yell something like, "Hey! Great," and I hit the mic again. "Great idea. That's what I would do. Keep it up. Cole, keep it up, Adam. Show us something." You know, things of that nature. EC3 hits a German suplex on a running lariat for 2. Cole then hits the brainbuster on the knee for a near fall. Cole tries the cross arm breaker, but EC3 hurks him up into a powerbomb. Eventually, the Undisputed Era members finally get involved. They distract the ref. EC3 goes to attack all of them, taking his eyes off Cole, who hits the super kick and the last shot to the back of the head for the pin. So we get a supposed clean finish. Post-match, we get the Era attacking EC3 like a pack of wolves, and the War Raiders run down to make the save. Raiders are beating up the Era 2-on-4. They scream, they beat their chests, and the Undisputed Era retreat to end the show. Pretty entertaining show. It was a nice, easy watch. We are but 2 weeks away from NXT TakeOver Phoenix. So that's going to do it for this week. Tune in to the Angry Marks Rewind podcast, where myself and Mike Poulin this past weekend recorded episode number 12, where we reviewed the 1992 Survivor Series. So check that out. Next week, Mike and I are going to be doing our first TNA pay-per-view. We're going to be looking at Hard Justice 2008, featuring Kurt Angle and AJ Styles in The Last Man Standing. So that's going to be up on the AngryMarks.com in the next couple of weeks. So until then, we'll talk to you next week for NXT. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 3,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 100 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.